This is Get Ready Florida, sponsored by Security First Insurance, Storm Peace, Florida Home Improvement Associates, Custom Window Systems, and Y-Green. And brought to you by the Fair Foundation, the International Hurricane Research Center at Florida International University, the National Emergency Management Association, and the Salvation Army. Last year will go down as a record-breaking, nightmare-making season of monster hurricanes. We'll look at the deadly and destructive superstorms that exploded out of the Atlantic Ocean in 2017. It's just a matter of time before the next one strikes, and you and your family could be in its crosshairs. The countdown to hurricane season starts now. If one hits your hometown, will you be prepared? This showtime is go time. So let's get ready, Florida.
I'm Craig Fugate, your host. Last year's hurricane season was off the charts and one of the most active in history. It impacted just about everyone in Florida, some far more than others. What should we expect, and how can we be ready for the next megastorm? We'll tell you how and give you tips to keep you and your family safe.
We live in the hurricane capital of the United States. We have to understand that's our major hazard that we have to be ready for and prepared for each and every season because of where we are in the history that we have.
The 2017 hurricane season came fast and furious. Storms churned in the Atlantic, lining up one after another. There were 17 named storms and 10 hurricanes. But a terrifying trio caused the most carnage. Hurricanes Harvey, Irma, and Maria generated a deluge of rain and flooding in Texas, mass evacuations in Florida, and untold suffering and power outages in the U.S. Virgin Islands and the territory of Puerto Rico.
This past hurricane season, there were many storms and major storms because we had those ingredients for that recipe, if you will, to create the kinds of hurricanes that we saw in 2017. The conditions were right, the variables were there, and it set the stage for a very active season.
With epic winds and rain, Harvey, Irma, and Maria shattered records and made history. The three Category 4 hurricanes made landfall in America after more than a decade without a major hurricane hitting the United States. They were big, bad, deadly, and costly. Damages are estimated at $300 billion, making the 2017 Atlantic hurricane season the costliest ever. In late August, Hurricane Harvey hit, dumping trillions of gallons of water on Texas and Louisiana. In September, Irma struck, becoming one of the strongest Atlantic hurricanes on record as a Category 5. Irma pulverized islands in the Caribbean. Then it headed for Florida. Irma slammed the Florida Keys as a Category 4 hurricane. It terrorized both coasts of Florida, hitting Naples and heading north. Irma knocked out power to millions and left behind pockets of extreme flooding from Jacksonville to Charleston, South Carolina. Maria came on the heels of Irma, making for the second devastating Category 5 storm. It lashed the Caribbean before pummeling Puerto Rico, which was still reeling from Irma.
From the 2017 season, we saw that the ingredients were there for storms like Maria or Irma, where we had very warm sea surface temperatures, very light wind shear, high pressure aloft, and it provided that really conducive environment for growth. And that's what forms a major storm.
Hurricanes can be harmless if they stay way out to sea, but when they make landfall, watch out.
There is a general cycle, roughly 20 to 30 years, where there's more hurricanes and then fewer hurricanes. And we're currently in the above average cycle that started in 1995.
When we return, we'll explain what you need to do now to make sure you and your family and home are ready when the next big one hits. We'll walk you through the key things you should be thinking about now.
We knew we had a very old air conditioner here, and we knew that our windows were really bad.
I had to put up metal shutters if a storm was approaching.
And now it just works so good. Our insurance went down $7,000.
I can't believe everybody doesn't use Y-Green. To me, it's a no-brainer.
With Y-Green, the Millers found a better way to finance home improvements for energy efficiency, renewables, and storm protection. Imagine what you can do. Call now or visit ygreen.com today.
This was only a test. Having the right window in a hurricane or high wind event is very important. If the window breaks, it could create a pressure change that could cause your roof to blow off. Tested and certified to meet the strictest building codes, custom windows will improve, beautify, and protect your home. Impact-resistant window manufacturers since 1986. Florida made for the Florida trade.
This Get Ready Florida tip is brought to you by Security First Insurance. Understanding the hurricane deductible you choose for your home insurance policy is really important. The higher the deductible, the lower your premium. That sounds good, right? Well, it also means more out-of-pocket expense if your home is damaged by a hurricane. Choose a deductible amount that you can afford. For more helpful tips, visit securityfirstflorida.com.
Hurricane season is from June 1st through November 30th. That makes winter and spring the off-seasons for storms, and your time to get a jump on Mother Nature.
One of the biggest mistakes homeowners make is thinking a hurricane won't happen to them. But being proactive means having the right insurance and making sure your homeowner's policy is up to date.
Insurance is designed to provide catastrophic protection for unusual events, so that statistically they have a small probability of happening, but if they happen to you, you and your family are devastated. The purpose of insurance is to get you and your family back to what you had prior to the storm.
Your insurance should cover the worst-case scenario, the complete loss of your home. And there's a big difference between the replacement cost and cash value.
If you have a replacement cost policy on your roof and it's damaged or destroyed, you will get the money that it will cost to put on a brand new roof. If you have an actual cash value policy for your roof, you will only get the amount of what the roof was worth, what it was insured for, which is a depreciated amount. It's less than what it would be to replace it.
Even if you don't have a mortgage, you need insurance because most people couldn't afford to rebuild their entire house.
If you file a claim, you're only responsible for paying the deductible.
You have a choice in your home deductible. Okay, every customer that we have is offered a $500 hurricane deductible. Most of them choose a 2% deductible because it's cheaper. But that means that instead of paying $500 of a covered loss, they end up on average paying about $4,000 of a coverage loss. The reason we wanted to give people choices was because we felt different people had different risk tolerances. Some people can afford a larger deductible than others. But I would encourage people to think about their hurricane deductible. I would encourage them to buy flood insurance. And I would encourage them to look at what is excluded.
Even if your repair costs are less than your deductible, file a claim. Repairs add up, and a more vicious storm season means you might need to file several claims.
If you have a $4,000 deductible and you have 5 hurricanes, you only pay the $4,000 once. That's why it's important when there is a hurricane to file a claim.
Always file an insurance claim if your home is damaged during a hurricane. Your hurricane deductible is measured on a 12-month cycle, so if you have damage from more than one storm in a season, your deductible will work for you over the course of the year. After a storm, be careful when it comes to hiring companies for repair work. Do your research so you don't become a victim of insurance fraud. Be wary of contractors who come to your door and offer to take over the entire claim process. That's a red flag.
Insurance fraud's always a problem. And anytime you have a natural disaster, especially a time when it impacts a lot of people and people are vulnerable, you're going to have shysters not only from the state, but also coming in from outside the state to try and take advantage of people.
There are some simple steps all homeowners can take before a storm.
If you're able to, with your cell phone or with a video camera, record the contents of the inside of your house, the outside of your house, that will go a long way to helping if your home gets severely damaged during an event. I mean, your house is your single largest investment for most people, and damage to it is going to be very nerve-wracking. But we want consumers to know we're on their side, and we want to help them recover and put them back to where they were before the storm.
Rebuilding after a major hurricane can be expensive and stressful. Homeowners often need money for out-of-pocket costs, and they need it quickly. Parametric insurance covers what traditional policies don't, and with no deductibles or adjusters.
When we started four years ago as a problem in society that people had a lot of out-of-pocket cost, not just deductible, but there are a lot of things that are not covered by your policy. So a tree that fell in your backyard may not be covered. An appurtenant structure or a dock, you have to buy special coverage for that. So you may not know it when you buy a policy, but there are a lot of exclusions in the policy, and you realize that after the fact.
This coverage for post-hurricane losses can be a lifesaver after a storm. Money is wired to your bank account within days when it's most needed.
If you had to evacuate and there was no damage to your home, but you had to evacuate, you can use our money towards your evacuation expenses, hotel, food, pay for your gas. Millions of people were out of power post-Irma, so you can use our money for generator rentals or for paying for your gas in the generator.
Payments are made based on the strength of a named hurricane and its distance to your property.
We monitor the physics of the hurricane as broadcast by the U.S. National Hurricane Center, as broadcast by the U.S. government. And we use that information to figure out which customer gets paid how much.
Parametric insurance is another option for peace of mind for homeowners in a storm-prone state.
And even if you have insurance, that money takes time to come to you, because these storms are multi-state disasters. So resources get maxed out in the insurance industry to come and serve you. Our mission is to bring immediate cash into your pocket so that you can recover, rebuild, get back on your feet faster.
Every family should have a hurricane plan. Know ahead of time where you will go if you need to evacuate and where you plan to meet up. Always stock emergency supplies like food, water, medicine, a battery-powered radio, flashlights, blankets, and basic first aid kit. To learn more tips, visit getreadyflorida.org. Next up, could your home withstand a bad storm? When we come back, we'll talk about home hardening.
Hurricanes can be really scary, but choosing the wrong contractor, product, or financing can be even scarier. Windows that meet building codes are only one option. For example, this is Impact Glass, but this is better, and this is better still. Window openings need to be as strong as the glass. Our staff are trained, certified, and trusted. We don't make the windows, we sell the best window options. For protection, energy efficiency, and affordability, call today. Florida Home Improvement Associates.
This year's hurricane season is expected to be severe. How will you recover after the next storm? Get StormPeace and get back on your feet faster. No adjusters, no deductibles, immediate cash after the storm for dollars a day. StormPeace is supplemental insurance that covers uninsured losses, landscape, debris removal, evacuation expenses, even your homeowner's deductible. Payment wired to you within hours. StormPeace is peace of mind for you and your family.
It's important to prepare your home before hurricane season kicks in and ramps up.
We certainly recognize how vulnerable the openings of your home are. Your home that was built 40, 50 years ago was not built in a fashion or a manner to accept the new window that's being installed, and certainly not built to accept the pressures that are going to be dispersed.
It's critical to plan ahead if you want your home to be stronger than it is now.
One of the great opportunities we have in January, especially being homeowners here in South Florida, is getting better educated on the different ways to protect our home, and more educated on, are we protected now as we sit in our home, and what are our plans for the next upcoming season. What is your plan right now as a homeowner? What do you have in terms of protection right now as a homeowner? Did you just have to go to the lumber yard during the last storm to stock up on plywood? Where's that plywood now? Do you have shutters? Do the shutters operate?
Windows are your home's first line of defense and a good place to start if you're thinking about improvements.
Most folks don't recognize that when they're trying to look to make this decision that hurricane impact glass is not all equal.
Homeowners today have a lot of choices when it comes to different types of impact-resistant windows.
There's over 30 different ways to order hurricane impact glass. There's Dade County approved hurricane impact glass, which for homeowners who've never been educated on this process, they don't recognize that the Dade County approval is a minimum.
Choosing a reliable contractor is as important as what type of product you choose for your home.
The installation process as it relates to protecting your home and family, we think is a really important part, and it's so overlooked. You know, there's so many decisions, and a lot of times us as homeowners, we make this decision based on price. If we have a little bit of product knowledge, great, but we ultimately don't ask too many questions as it relates to who's installing it, meaning these screws are going to be in your home for several days at a time. Me as a homeowner, I want to know who's going to be in my house, what type of worker is going to be here, have they been screened, is there any criminal background check, is there any drug testing? So that's the first thing, is recognizing that we have a commitment to you, the homeowner, to understand that we know who's going to be in your house.
Roofs and windows are both at risk in a hurricane. You can cover windows with hurricane shutters or opt to install impact-resistant glass.
Having the right window and/or door in your home during a hurricane event or a high wind event is very important. There's flying windborne debris that is in a storm, flying around. If your opening is breached, let's say a coconut would fly through your window, it creates pressure variance that could cause your roof to blow off your house.
Impact-resistant windows can withstand more because of the way they're made.
Our windows are impact-resistant. What that means is they are built with a strong structural frame, and then the glass is composed of what is similar to your car windshield, but it's several times thicker than your car windshield. So there's a piece of glass, there is a inner layer in between the glass that's flexible, and then another piece of glass, so it makes like a glass sandwich. So when an impact happens, it will crack, but you cannot get through that inner layer.
Some impact-resistant windows are made here in Florida, which has some of the strictest building codes in the country.
An impact-resistant window represents, in the event of windborne debris during a high wind event, that the opening will not be breached. The glass may crack, the glass may break, but that projectile won't go through and cause an opening in your home. If you have the impact windows, you can see what's going on. You can leave your house, you can leave it, you don't have to put shutters up, take them down, and your home is protected whether you're there or not. So it's a very low maintenance product to have.
You have to plan ahead for specially made impact-resistant windows, some of which are produced here in Florida.
We are founded in Florida. We manufacture here in Florida. We are Florida made for the Florida trade. We have windows that tilt. We have windows that don't tilt. We have functionality built in, and we make every kind of option you could need for your home.
If you have to ride out a storm at home, find the safest interior spot. That means a closet or bathroom away from windows and doors. Next up, we'll talk about how you might be able to get the financing you need to pay for certain home improvements. Stay with us.
Your home may not be as strong as it needs to be. The Fair Foundation helps people prepare for the next natural disaster. We provide Florida families and businesses with resources to understand the risk of catastrophic damage due to wind and water, harden your property against storm damage, and ensure that properties are fully insured with affordable coverage. Did you know that 1 in 4 Florida homes are currently at risk for flood and storm surge but are not insured? Call your agent or the Fair Foundation today. We are your voice and your best resource.
Hurricanes can be really scary, but choosing the wrong contractor, product, or financing can be even scarier. Windows that meet building codes are only one option. For example, this is impact glass, but this is better, and this is better still. Window openings need to be as strong as the glass. Our staff are trained, certified, and trusted. We don't make the windows, we sell the best window options. For protection, energy efficiency, and affordability, call today. Florida Home Improvement Associates.
Many residents want to make their homes safer for the storm season, but worry about how to pay for it. Depending upon where you live, you may be eligible for an innovative financing program that can help. PACE financing makes certain storm upgrades affordable and doable.
The unique attributes of PACE are that, one, you get to pay it through your property tax bill with terms available up to 20 years. We protect the property owners as best as possible by certifying our group of contractors and making sure that each job is completed to their satisfaction before we do any type of funding.
This financing allows homeowners to get the improvements they need, like impact-resistant windows with no money down. The cost is locked in over time. Payments are made through your property bill.
And Y-Green dollars are really meant for, in Florida, for hurricane protection measures like roof and windows, as well as any measures that would save the home energy. So energy retrofit lighting, LED lighting, for example, improving your HVAC system.
Making your home more energy efficient could save you money on utility fees and increase your property value. It's a good option for homeowners fearful about the next big storm and the cost of a home improvement project.
If you improve your homes by installing impact-resistant glass, by improving your roofs and strengthening your roofs, mitigating flood and water damage to your home, not only are you going to reduce your insurance premiums, but you're also going to improve the strength of your home in the event of a catastrophic event.
If you sell your home, the PACE payment may transfer to the new owner, but most mortgage lenders require full repayment upon resale or refinance. If you're considering selling or refinancing anytime soon, check with your lender first.
Understanding that we have been through some, terrible hurricanes over the past year, and being prepared for that 2018 season that's coming up, it really does make a lot of sense to get out in front of it and get your impact windows done, get your roof done, get the repairs needed to prepare you for any type of hurricane that's upcoming in 2018.
Hurricanes are wildly unpredictable. There's just no way of knowing exactly where they'll go. It's not just the winds, it's the water that can kill. And we're talking about storm surges. Giant walls of water pushed ashore by winds that can cause intense flooding. Hurricane evacuation zones are based upon storm surge, not wind. If you live in or near a flood zone, it's critical you have flood insurance.
It's estimated that 1.6 million homes in the state of Florida are not protected for flood, and they easily could be. The point with flood insurance is that it is mandated for homes that are in a defined flood zone. But the flood mapping is not completely accurate, and it doesn't cover all flood risks. So if a home exists across the street from a mapped flood zone, it doesn't mean that the water stops at the line.
Last year was the most active hurricane season since 2005. It'll be seared into our memory for the number of storms, their intensity, and the damages they wrought.
Early indications are that we may be under a La Nina, and that's a factor that could open the door for an active season again. But we're going to have to wait and see exactly if all those ingredients are there to once again be above average.
If that's the case, Florida might be facing a new normal of superstorms.
Where we live in Florida, regardless of that forecast of how many storms, as we all know, it only takes one storm. And if it's that one storm that comes to Florida, that's the one we have to be prepared for.
Last season felt like a game changer as we witnessed a series of tragic, lethal, and merciless hurricanes. No one knows what lies ahead, but we could be entering uncharted weather territory. Living in Florida puts you at risk from the next mean machine of a storm. The time to start preparing is now.
Get Ready Florida was sponsored by Security First Insurance, Storm Peace, Florida Home Improvement Associates, Custom Window Systems, and Y-Green. And brought to you by the Fair Foundation, the International Hurricane Research Center at Florida International University, the National Emergency Management Association, and the Salvation Army.